You are watching the #1 podcast in the whole entire YouTube wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juan.
And I'm your other host, Jean-Paul Leck.
And together we are
Rope Break.
And of course, you know, family is Thursday morning, so we have NXT for every single one of you. And see, Jean-Paul is having an orgasm because the show was absolutely fantastic in his eyes. We have a lot of announcements. See, NXT always finds a way to make the shows interesting, to kind of like not let the expectations, the hype go down. And that's what are always like our #1 when it comes to wrestling and wrestling brands, wrestling companies. They know how to keep it at least interesting for every single one of us. So every week we're forced kind of to tune it in. It's not our duty. It's not a responsibility. We don't feel obligated. You know, we just want to tune in because we want to keep watching. Right, Jean-Paul?
Exactly. They always do something, like we said, there's always, whether it's the mid-card, the main event, the women, the tag teams, whatever, there's always some kind of storyline that you don't want to miss. It's not like how sometimes when we watch a show, mostly SmackDown, we're like, here we go, 8 o'clock, all right.
Are you ready?
Yeah. NXT is, it's like, no, I want to find out what's going on in this storyline. Okay, maybe I don't care about this, but I care about that. So, NXT, they always got you somewhere. And this, I feel like this show, like you said, I was going crazy for it because, they had a lot of good stuff, especially the main event scene. This is how you get a feud, started between Karrion Kross and Keith Lee. And speaking of Keith Lee, why don't you take us into the big announcement he had to open the show?
Yes, before I do that, though, thank you so very much for watching every single one of the content. We have AEW Dynamite from last night. So Sammy Guevara is back. The Inner Circle is finally completed. And the Deadly Draw was announced. So it's going to be the Women's Tag Team Tournament to determine the brand new and the inaugural Tag Team Champions for the girls. So that was pretty much the main things that of importance of this show. So check it out, family. Every single move, every single match, we talk about every single thing. And we're going to go move to NXT. In the announcement, we got to see William Regal. And he's like kind of on the outside. He's like, hey, what's up, guys? And it's like we have a pretty big announcement. So we see also Keith Lee. And Keith Lee pretty much relinquishes to the North American Championship in the spirit of competition. Like you said, Jean-Paul, why might I have to be defending 2 belts when I could actually give one up and then give the opportunity for somebody else, for somebody to have the same opportunities that I had. So Keith Lee is, in an act of kindness, of good heart, he relinquishes to the North American Championship. So that gives William Regal the idea that he's going to have a series of triple threats. And, there's going to be, like you said, there's going to be 5 guys, and these 5 guys are going to be fighting at the newest pay-per-view, because also they had the announcement that NXT TakeOver 30 is going to be taking place the day before SummerSlam on August 22nd. So that's going to be the 5-way match, the fatal 5-way, and then to determine the brand new NXT North American Champion.
Yeah, and that match will also be a ladder match, which I like, because when the title was first crowned, to Adam Cole, the inaugural champion, it was in a ladder match.
And it was a 5-way.
Yeah, so now this is like calling back to that because, hey, nobody's defending it. It's like you're crowning a brand new champion again, so why not do it the way you crowned the first champion in a ladder match? So I popped for that. Keith Lee, some people were probably like, oh, that's kind of crappy. He doesn't defend both belts. And would I have liked to see him go out there and kick people's ass, hold up both belts? Oh, yeah, that would have been, so legit.
Or pulling double duty, Jean-Paul.
Yeah, or like wrestling twice, and then just because that legitimizes him even more. If he beats both, 2 guys on one pay-per-view, but then in the same breath, that kind of buries the second guy he beats, which would probably be for the NXT Championship, because obviously that belt would be main event. So I can understand. And then, like we said, him with the spirit of competition. He talked about his trainer who recently passed away and how he, motivated him, pushed him, and always talked about that, the spirit of competition and stuff. So with him being face in the storyline, it makes sense why they relinquish it. And it also gives us this legit match at TakeOver 30.
Yeah. So like what the main important for me is it gives opportunity to other guys.
Yes.
Like we said, like guys that like you and me have been saying for weeks, it's like, hey, they're mid-card, they never had a chance. When is going to be their moment? Because in order to move the one up, you got to move the other one down. So it has to be like a pretty much an elevator thing. Some of them are like they're spot in one takeover, but the next takeover we don't even see them. But this is important. This is great. I think for the brand, it's a good idea. And the first match that we were going to have in a little later on was going to be Johnny Gargano going against Bronson, the crazy one, Reed, and then we're gonna go against Roderick Strong from the Undisputed Era.
His what's his middle name?
Lucius.
Lucius.
Yeah,
okay,
Lucius.
okay.
Yes, Lucius. That's right. But Jean Paul, that was the beginning of the show. So okay, cut. And just with an announcement, no need of a match. And now we go back to actually a match, and the match is going to be Dexter Lumis against Killian Lucius Dane. So it was legit.
This match, it was good, and like what the thing you said a couple minutes ago sums us up perfectly. Somebody has to go up, and somebody has to go down. And I don't know why Killian Dane, they just push him down. They strap like bricks, anvils, whatever. They put it all in his pockets, and they say, you're going down, down, you're done.
I agree with you.
He's so legit. I mean, it would have been cool to put him in that ladder match as well, because he was also in that, first ladder match. I think him and Adam Cole are the only ones who are still on NXT.
Exactly. Because EC3 done, Velveteen Dream done,
Lars Sullivan
done. Yeah, everybody's done.
That would be cool to put both of them in it. And I mean, there's still a chance because, like we said, we only know the match cards for 2 of these 5 triple threats, so he could still be in there.
Maybe.
But I mean, this match was good. Loomis's style, I think, works well with Killian Dane's. They're both 2 big bruisers beating the hell out of each other. Something similar, we saw in the main event, but. This was a good match. Dexter Lumis, though, as much as I love Killian Dane, he was the right guy to win here.
Yes, but pretty good match, although we got to see Killian Dane's ass, because we got to see the thong. I got to most of the match. I'm like, what the hell? And he keeps
I wasn't sure if that's what that was, or because he pulled his shirt down. He did like the Kurt Angle thing.
No, because he kept fixing the pants a little bit.
Oh, but it was like his jock strap.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I'm like, Killian, come on, man. It's like, I'd rather when you used to wear like the skirt, remember? Like, that used to be, but like the match-wise, extremely great. I really like the Hanakatame. I really like that he tried twice. Also, he did Swanton Bomb. Both of them, I think they tried for Swanton Bomb, but like...
Oh, yeah, and Loomis's Swanton Bomb was so legit.
Jeff Hardy could learn a thing or 2. No, Jeff, relax. It's legit. No more words. Yeah, but like, it was good. But like you said, Dexter Lumis, like his character is so unique. To me, is a lot better presented than Bray Wyatt. A lot more interesting, a lot more intriguing. A lot, that guys that like don't really need to talk much are really more intriguing than Carrion even. Because to me, Carrion, if he will be kind of like in the Dexter Lumis' life, he'll be lost. I'd rather match the intensity, like I hate it. I hate people. I'm going to start like at Kid Lee. I'm going to hurt people. But see, Dexter doesn't need that life. He's more like,
he's
you don't
so
need
like,
to know what I do things.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's so like, you kind of know what he's doing, but he's also really mysterious, and he keeps that character and he portrays that super well. So I agree with you 100%.
Yes. So, we got to see that in a good match, but now we're going to see an interview because like Roderick Strong is talking to Mackenzie. So he's like, hey, Kid Lee never gave me my rematch from the North American Championship. So technically, I should be the one that gets the title. But then we get to see Bronson Reed. It's like, dude, you had several opportunities. The Undisputed Era has had no more things than opportunities. So it's done. It's time for some other people to get those opportunities. Johnny Gargano comes out and he's like, well, guys, like I'm going to end up winning that North American Championship one more time. Or, this is only stepping stone for me. So move out of the way. So good stuff. Also, like usually, like Jean-Paul told me before we went on air, Dakota Kai has a video package kind of talking about what she did to Io Shirai. Last week she attacked her. So like you said, Jean-Paul, this is going to be pay-per-view, and pretty much they're setting up a match for Dakota Kai, challenging Io Shirai for the NXT Women's Championship. Good stuff. I mean, I don't know why Tegan was necessary to be in the middle of all of this, but I'm glad that like Dakota Kai is gonna receive her opportunity. So that's cool.
Yeah, and I think they kind of dropped the ball with the Tegan sympathy story. When she got beat up at War Games, they really drug that feud on for such a long time, and the matches weren't. I mean, they had that first street fight in this and that, so it was like it was legit. But I feel like that feud dragged on, and like it wasn't even a very defining moment when Tegan, like she got the revenge. It wasn't like, oh, this is so legit. It was just kind of lost because there was so much more legit stuff happening. So like you said, she was just kind of lost in the shuffle, I feel. And then they're like, oh, okay, we'll give her the title shot. So she has a title shot. Okay, whatever. Next. And we go on to the feud because like Io turned face. So
Yeah.
obviously she's not going to drop the belt to another face. That would just be, that would be stupid.
Yes.
So she's going to go against the heel. It'll be a more legit matchup. I still don't think she'll lose to Dakota Kai, but I think it'll be, a better match at TakeOver 30.
But at least, for example, you see in the lives of the NXT, officials and everything, you see, hey, Dakota Kai is worth to be in a pay-per-view.
Mhm.
Rather than Tegan, it's just like, hey, you're just gonna main event NXT, it's whatever. But and like you said, it makes more sense to me, Kai. Like you said, because it's heel against face, and that's how you tell stories. So that's to me, I'm excited to see that. So Jean Paul, Ever Rise against Breezango or the Mountie. So that was a quick match. Ever Rise is they have Chase Parker, and they think they wanna portray him. They're gonna start push him, a little later because of the characters that they have. I've heard that they have really good relationship with McMahon, so they're gonna start pushing them, later, and maybe towards next year. But this is kind of their runs to see.
Oh yeah, I was gonna when I look at Ever Rise, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, I could see these guys in 2 years from now being tag champs.
Yes.
Because they said this tag team has been together for 15 years. If they were jobbers, you don't try to get jobbers over like that. You don't tell jobbers backstories. You're like, oh, these guys are from, the local convenience store down the road. And then, they would have got their ass kicked. But this match still, with all that being said, it was still pretty quick. Like we said, we got the double Mounties. The Mounties always get their man, and they got their man here tonight.
That's right. And, double super kick, on Martel and done. But good stuff. And at least Breezango get a win. They're trying to make them hot again. Because of the thing what happened with Santos Escobar, the losing to the NXT Tag Team Championships, that also hurt them. Mm-hmm. So now it's hey, at least they get something.
Yeah, I would love to see a triple threat with them, like Breezango, Undisputed Era, and Imperium at TakeOver 30, and then you put the straps on Breezango. Yeah,
that would be cool. That would be cool because really, Imperium, they're not doing anything with them. They're barely.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, it's they're legit, but without Walter and without Wolf, they're legit with two of them. That's like saying you have Triple H, all of DX, and then you get rid of all of DX and you just have the New Age Outlaws. They're legit, but it's so much more legit when you have the whole crew.
Yes, and when it comes to groups, you need the other guys to fill in for you. But you're right. And then Io Shirai responded to Dakota Kai. She said, "I'll be seeing you." So that's legit. She's gonna pretty much attack her, I think, and then they're gonna.
Yeah, she's like, your actions have consequences, and she's like, I'm gonna be the consequences of your or something like that. So yeah some tweet, but it'll be legit.
Yeah. So now we gotta get Aliyah versus Chatzi Blackheart. They got a really good match, pretty good, pretty interesting. But in this situation, Chatzi gets the upper hand. I mean, I would much rather see Aliyah getting the win, just because she's heel, and the Robert Stone brand is they're trying to make them serious aside of the Tony Khan thing. So they're trying to do something with these guys. But in the end, Chatzi gets the win. But what happens after that? See, that was also important. But walk me through the match, Jean-Paul.
Yeah, I mean, Chatzi, she pretty much dominated this thing. Robert Stone, he tried to get involved. He climbed up on the apron.
Like Tony.
And she kicked him. Shotzi kicked him off the apron, so he's selling the injury, freaking out. I mean, Aliyah's not a bad wrestler, but she kind of just gets. She's definitely benefiting from being with Tony Khan. I mean, Robert Stone.
Yes.
Because now she's actually being on TV a lot more in a more meaningful way. But Shotzi, you got her, all the other women in the main event, so. I mean, she's not a bad wrestler, but like I said, I don't see her being NXT Women's Champion anytime soon.
Yeah,
but, Shotzi, she hit that huge senton, kind of nah. Hit the senton as the finisher.
We haven't seen him, but that's good. Yeah.
And then, no, he remember, he's the ninja. That's why
he became a ninja, and that's why we haven't seen him in a little bit. But it's all right.
Like you said, after the match, Shotzi gets in her tank. She runs over the other leg of Robert Stone, and he's freaking out. He's done. And then Raquel comes out.
Oh, Mercedes Martinez.
Oh, Mercedes, yeah.
Get your Hispanic's name right. Yeah, Mercedes Martinez comes out. She's, so she's looking really intense, and she attacks Shotzi. So, we have a new feud right there. Pretty much, see, that's how NXT does it, and that's the simplest way to do things.
Yeah, so, and then we find out, because, like you said, Mercedes is so legit. Why would she team up with Robert Stone? That doesn't make any sense, but later on in the show, we find out why.
Later on, we're going to find out the why of that happening. Also, the why of that something happening. We get a very legit promo of Isaiah Swerve. He's like, hey, I've been dominating the ring. And aside of everybody in this freaking world, especially the NXT world, I've been the only one that was able to pin El Hijo del Fantasma, which now we know as Santos Escobar. So he said, hey, you know, next time I see you for that NXT Cruiserweight Championship, I'm going to be the one beating you, and then I'm going to take that Bailey those straps to me. No, this one strap.
And
legit promo, though.
Oh, I like the promo, too, because like he said, you know, his passion was music. And he's like, the music, you know, music is where I felt comfortable, and that's how I am in the ring. Because if the music doesn't flow right, the song won't be good. And that's how I am in the ring. So this is what I wanted to see from him from the beginning. Let us know who you are. Let us know why you're here, why you want to be legit, all this stuff. I mean, hey, it's better late than never, and we already know the guy's good in the ring. Now we're getting the character development, you know, the Swerve's house, this and that. So I'm excited for this feud. I still think the money feud is Kushida. I don't know what their plans are with him, if he's maybe not even here. Maybe he's in Japan. Maybe, you know, to me, I don't know. But, you know, this, if they are going to do a feud between Isaiah Scott and, you know, Santos Escobar, I think it'll be legit matches. Because like you said, I'm the only one who pinned you.
Yeah, it's going to be legit. It's going to be legit. I'm really looking forward for that. Which I was also looking forward to, Jean-Paul, was the triple threat. It's Bronson Reed, Roderick Strong, Johnny Gargano. They gave us a hell of a match. You know,
this was probably
the highlight of the whole week in WWE match quality, right there. One of the greatest triple threats.
As good as the main event was for the storytelling and this and that happened, this was definitely the best match on the show.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Like, it was, like, intense. You know, every member of this triple threat got their light, got their spots in. Extremely legit. You know, Roderick Strong, to me, when he's, like, on that five gear, you know, fifth gear, extremely
and see, that's it. Like, he's heel. So, obviously, you know, he plays that heel character. You turn him babyface, I think he would be white hot. They would, like, you know, he would go crazy, or the people would go crazy for him.
I think so too, because like
you said,
and execution of these moves, you know, the way that he flows, I really love when he starts like going from like corner to corner and he gives like that big like punch. I really like that.
Yeah, and I love like he hit the Olympic slam on Bronson Reed.
Slam, yep. Oh,
so that was yeah. I like in the beginning of this thing because they tried to, like, obviously the two smaller guys try to beat up Bronson Reed, and they're both on the outside, and they look at each other and they're like, all right, let's go to the ring at the same time. And they both go to dive in, and then they stop and look at each other. They're like, why'd you stop? So, like, they're both like that. So that was legit. And, you know, they're working together, but, you know, then of course they got to go against each other when Reed rolls out of this thing. And there was a sequence right at the end where he hits, I think he countered the spear, and then he hit like the final beat, and then he couldn't pin him, and they would just kept like going roll up for roll up. And I forget if that's when he hit the final beat, and then he went to pin him. Yeah, and that's when Bronson Reed did that huge
splash. He did a splash, yeah, and was the reason that like he couldn't, like Gargano couldn't, you know, well, he does the splash on Roderick Strong.
Yeah,
because was, you said after final beat, but then Gargano couldn't pin him because Bronson falls into their hand.
Yeah,
he fell like a little bit. Some of his humanity fell into Gargano's hand, and that's like why he goes like this, like you know.
Yeah, and he rolls out of the ring.
Advantage of that, yes.
Yep.
And then 1, 2, 3, and done.
And that was so legit to see him win. You know, Roderick Strong would have been awesome in the tournament, but I feel like, you know, I don't want to see Undisputed Era break up. I'm not trying to say, but I feel like the next time he holds a belt, he's got to be, you know, face. Because I don't think, like, okay, how many times can we see heel Roderick Strong be North American champion? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And Gargano, I mean, you know, with all the storytelling you were trying to do with him, I think he has to go for the main title again. So, and Bronson Reed, he's the one who, you know, he was the baby face in this. He's never had that opportunity, and it was a feel-good moment for him to win, so I think it was the right winner.
And also, like, it's important to get new stars. Get some people going on into the main event scene. You need wins like this, and so that's important that you get a very meaningful win in the expense of, like, Gargano and Strong. Exactly. What better can it get for you? Because, you know, these guys are, like, main event players. Not much Roderick Strong, but Gargano, yes. So the fact that, like, you know, you win, it's important, and it's going to catapult his career to different
heights. And like Moro said it best at the end of this thing. This is the biggest win of Bronson Reed's career in NXT.
Yes. And he knows it, you know, and he got a promo, I think, a little bit. He was, it's my time. I'm Bronson Reed. And also he was, like, pointing out the title because they had already the title right there. in just a base right there for everybody to just kind of see it. So cool. And he
Mhm.
becomes the first guy that is going to be added to that 5-way ladder match. So that's cool. We're going to see what happens with that. But very, very great match.
Oh, I agree.
It
I think,
just,
like you
to me,
said, this.
highlights the whole WWE, or like I would say wrestling week, that
Yep.
match. When we do our thingy, when we talk about, the week in WWE or the week in wrestling, I think that's the match that's going to be talking about, as number one. But,
I agree.
Jean Paul, we get a match that, like, once again, if we criticize the Bucks and the Butcher and the Blade, I'm going to criticize the same thing. You give me the same match and you give me the same outcome, so therefore I don't care. So that was Timothy Thatcher, the master of, Fujiwara armbar against Oni Lorcan, the guy that, like, so legit and
the
so
master
legit
of
at
losing.
So legit at losing. So,
Yeah.
like you said, Jean
And
Paul,
this.
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say this was. I thought this match was better than their first because it had more like.
Story.
I thought Oni Lorcan, yeah, it had more story, and Oni Lorcan I thought was more prepared. Kayfabe more prepared for this. He looked more dominant. The suplexes and stuff that they were hitting on each other were, so legit. But then, like, he kept countering Thatcher, and it's like, oh, this is legit. He put Thatcher in the armbar. He had all these holds on him. And then he had him in the hold. I think it was like something with like he was like the arm or the shoulder.
Yeah.
And then Thatcher just kind of used leverage. 1, 2, 3.
He was kind of like doing the armbar. I think it's something similar like the armbar, but like you said, like Thatcher kind of like rolls him up, and then he's like on top of like Oni.
Yeah.
And then 1, 2, 3, and done.
Yeah, and then Oni Lorcan's like, oh my God. And it's like, what did you think?
What the hell?
Like, how do you not know that you have a guy in a submission? I mean, you see it all the time. Obviously, the match has to end.
Baby face, you know.
1, 2, you let go of the hold. You know what I mean? So it's like, whatever.
That's
like
the stuff that don't make sense. Yeah, so, that, aside of that, for the wrestling and ring ability, legit. Good stuff. But at least give me Oni winning, though. If you want me to care about Oni, make him win. So, Jean Paul, like we want explanations about actions. Well, there you go. Robert Stone is with Aliyah, so he's kind of like, oh my God, I'm done and everything. But then Mercedes Martinez shows up, and she's like, hey, I just want to focus on my wrestling. I don't want to deal with anything of the prep or like the promos, getting me the matches, all the documents, all the blah, blah, blah. It's like, I want you to be taking care of that. But if you go against me, I'm going to break both of those legs. Because like Robert goes to Aliyah, hey, lift me up. He's like, okay. All right, I got it. So she's like, hey, if you do that for me, I'm in. He's like, all right. So they shook hands. So the Robert Stone brand has a brand new member in Mercedes Martinez, and I think it adds what, Jean Paul? It adds the muscle. It definitely. Gonna be, because Aliyah's the talent, kind of like, yeah, I'm like the face of the brand. Muscle is going to be Mercedes Martinez. So I'm all down for it.
Oh, so I am too, and I think that this is a way to get Aliyah maybe more wins, because you could have, Martinez out there, and she could maybe, when the ref has a back turn, she could punch somebody, choke them out, throw them in there, and then Aliyah, picks up the win.
Yes.
So you could definitely build this stable, and also Mercedes Martinez adds the legitimacy to the group.
Yes.
Because we said, Robert Stone is just parody of Tony Khan. He's a joke on TV every week. Aliyah is not the most legit wrestler, but now look who you have. Now you have someone who's legit, who's a badass.
Is the same thing as you have with Dakota Kai and Raquel.
Yeah.
Same thing, sure, like in-ring skill, like, different, and then Raquel is the muscle. Right here, Mercedes will be the muscle. So you can even, if, you will ever term either one of them face, you could have them feud with each other.
Oh, definitely.
It's not the case, but, so I think I like that, Jean Paul. But, what, of course, Jean Paul loves is a promo from the Prince, Finn Balor. He's backstage, and he talks about how he will take advantage of the opportunities that Keith Lee is offering, and then the NXT roster. Balor calls out Dexter Lumis and Timothy Thatcher. Why? Because next week, the triple threat is going to be between those three. And he says, it seems that like the match between the three of them will happen next week. And he says, hey, I'm just telling you, it's going to be a spoiler. I'm going to win. So he's like, sorry that, their story is going to be cut short. He's like, but like the Prince, I'm going to be the winner this time. I won the North American Championship, and I'm going to get it. So,
I love the last thing he said in this promo, where he's like, I'm going to give the North American Championship the Finn Balor rub.
Yes.
As in saying that championship will become more legit
when Finn becomes the champion.
When he holds it.
Yeah.
And Finn Balor, I mean, you might not be a fan of him in the ring, which I don't know. You must be blind, or you must hate good wrestlers. But I think Finn Balor, when he delivers a promo, to me that's the most kayfabe promo, where you go out there and you're like, this is legit. I'm the best. Blah blah blah. You don't hear people take themselves and what they do as serious as heel Finn Balor.
Yes.
And he's not even heel anymore. It's just he's serious.
Yeah. No, it is a serious. No, and I really like how he has become so much better promo-wise. Is that because, like you said, like he has a theme now. Mm-hmm. He has, and that's like his seriousness.
Yeah, and I would say
he gained his voice.
Yeah, I would say he always had that in him. It's just when you go on the main roster, they say this is what you have to say. I don't think William Regal, Triple H, anybody. They say, Finn, go out there and do what you do.
Yes. I think that like he found his voice, and that's important because now every time that he speaks, we all believe what he's gonna say, and it's interesting, and we're looking forward to that match because for example, you might say Balor. My pick is Loomis. So
I mean, and the one thing I think. To go back a little earlier where you said Oni Lorcan, lose. I think whether your pick wins or my pick wins, I think Thatcher is going to get fucked by Oni Lorcan.
Oh, yeah, and that's good, though, because, again, I don't really see Timothy Thatcher going over. I'd rather match to see Loomis or Finn Balor.
No.
One of the two. I just don't see Thatcher going into that. I just think that he's not charismatic enough yet.
And also, I can't see him in a ladder match. Ladder matches, I'm not saying you got to do flippy shit in a ladder match, but to me, ladder match, you got to have some kind of high flying. I don't think Timothy Thatcher ever leaves his feet.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? So like he would be out of place.
Technical wrestling,
Yeah.
Like, if you're a fan of that, Timothy Thatcher is your guy, but if you're not a fan of that, then you probably find him boring.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is, because there's so many, like ways of you can become a wrestling fan. If you like high flying, if you like multi-spots, if you like technical, if you just like, promos, all those things, all those elements. But in the case of Thatcher, he's only, right? He's like pretty much technicality. He's technical wrestler. So Jean-Paul, main event time. Karrion Kross against, one of our guys, Dominik Dijakovic. This match was very, very good. And we said Dijakovic was going to put a fight. And yes, indeed, he ended up doing that. But in the end, for Jean-Paul, and he's going to walk me through that because he's absolutely orgasmic about it. Okay, the word.
Yeah, I mean NXT, they did me so good this week. You had the Finn Balor promo that was like,
I'm telling you, so he's orgasmic.
And then they went to this, and I was like,
it's tantric orgasmic. That's how Jean Paul is feeling right now. He's feeling into the Nirvana, and it's not Kurt Cobain, Dave Grohl, and Christopher Saleh.
Yeah, it doesn't smell like Teen Spirit.
It smells like Keith Lee against Karrion Kross. So Jean Paul, but the match itself was
the match
great.
it was so legit. They're beating the hell out of each other. He goes for the feast your eyes really early. Karrion gets out of that.
He scouted that.
Yeah, then he goes for the Doomsday Saito, and then Dijakovic gets out of that. So they had each other scouted, and it was pretty much back and forth a lot of this thing. And then he hit this huge DDT. He almost did like a Shawn Michaels cell job. He was like standing on top of his head, so like Dijakovic sold that DDT. Then Karrion just worked him over. And I forget if this happened before or after that, but they're fighting on the outside. Oh, no, it was after, because it was when
the ring steps.
Right before he kicked his head into the ring steps. And they're going at it, and Dijakovic says to Kross, he's like, "You're not Keith Lee," as in, like, "You're not going to beat me." And then he says, "You're not either." And then that's when he whips him into the ring steps. And it's like, they had that emotion and all that was in there. And then that ring
steps. Did they say, Jean-Paul, did they say, like, you're not Keith Lee or you're not Lucius? So
I think they said Keith Lucius Lee.
Okay. All right.
So yeah. So he sends him in there, and then this spot was legit. I thought it was actually going to end in a DQ here. He had his head, kind of like at the ring post in between the steps, and obviously there's like nothing down there. He was fine, but boom, he kicked it in there. So that was supposed to be like he crushed his head, and the ref was like, "That's it, you've gone too far." So I'm like, DQ. Keith Lee's going to come out. It wasn't that yet. And so then he brought him, Dijakovic, back in the ring. And then, like you said, we saw Keith Lee come out. And this is when I was like, whee!
Yeah.
And that's when I was the number one. And, he's in Keith Lee's face, like, hey, he's just like looking at him, choking, Dijakovic beating him up. And
it reminded me, Jean-Paul, a little bit of Rocky IV because like throw the towel. And then, kind of like, and maybe they did it because of AEW. I don't know. Don't think I'm trying to like That makes
No,
the moment.
I wouldn't say that because I feel like that was presented in such like a weird, like pathetic
I'm
way.
saying
How
no, like to
Kaz is
kind of
like,
like show them how to do a moment like
oh
this.
yeah,
Like Rocky Four, he's supposed to be throwing the towel, and then like Keith Lee's like, man, it's like it's done, it's done. He's like, no, and you hear Dijakovic, no, it's good,
mm-hmm.
it's good. No, I got it. And then Carrion kept going with like those really stiff forearms. He kept going, like he whacked him with like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he went for like the straight jacket.
Yeah,
The
and then
Carrion
that's the thing
jacket.
with which was legit. Dijakovic, he didn't, he wasn't like, oh, I'm done. He didn't tap out. He pretty much just passed out, was done, and then the ref was like, it's over. Keith Lee immediately, as soon as the bell, ding, 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 Keith Lee's already rolling in the ring, and as soon as he rolled in the ring, Karrion Kross, he went out of there, and
Yeah,
I
and
like that.
he
It's
just
like that.
pushed Dijakovic onto like Lucius, and then boom.
Yeah, and they were, so he was standing there over Dijakovic, like, okay, like, bro, you good? Karrion Kross. I love how Scarlett was laughing. She's like, ha ha, Dijakovic, you're bullshit, blah, blah, blah. The whole time, Karrion and Keith Lee are just staring a hole in each other.
Yeah.
They're just staring each other in the eyes. Like, he's not laughing like, ha ha, I beat up your boy, ha ha, he sucks. He looks like focused. And I don't want to say like scared, but just like the emotion on Keith Lee's face, like I said, I wanted to see Keith Lee kill this guy right here, right now. If this match was taking place in the days when kayfabe was legit, that whole building would be going insane.
Oh yeah.
They would want to see him kick Karrion Kross's ass, so bad, and that's why I think this storyline is getting presented so legit.
It's gonna be a really important story. I think that's probably, if I'm not spoiling anything, but I think this is probably gonna be the best feud for the remainder of the year.
Oh,
This is
definitely.
gonna be like pretty much like the whole year is gonna take place for Keith Lee and Karrion Kross. I'm really looking forward to this. Like you said, they're presented it in a really high manner. You know, Hopefully, like they deliver when it comes to this. I have faith in NXT, so I'm not worried about it. But I just think that, like you said, like the intensity, how they both looking at each other, just tells the whole story. You don't even need to add any talking
Mm.
into this. It's just how
Yeah.
like they stare at each other, like, "Oh, I'm going to beat you." You just see the hatred, coming from both men. So
Yeah,
it's pretty.
and that's going to be the best thing next Wednesday. Like you said, NXT always gives something that you want to watch. Now I have something that it's not that I want to watch it; it's that I can't miss it.
Yes,
I
exactly.
want to see what Keith Lee has to say because I know he's going to cut a super legit promo. I believe that Finn Balor match is next week as well, the triple
Yes,
threat. So
yes.
I'm not going to want to miss that. So that's what I mean. There's a lot of good shit for NXT, and they keep the train rolling because when the COVID started, some of the builds for takeovers weren't that great because they didn't know what they were doing. This is going to be, I think, a super legit takeover.
It's gonna be. It's gonna be, and that's why it's the NXT Takeover 30. So I think that sums it up. That wraps it up for this show. Like Jean Paul was saying, a lot of intensity, good announcements. NXT once again. I think for a lot of people, I have a lot of people in social media saying they enjoy AEW much better. That's important because you have your taste. You go for what you
Mm-hmm.
like. Where nobody needs to agree with the other person. That's what we respect. We're tolerant. We embrace diversity when it comes to thinking. So, for me, I think this week is going to be NXT just because, like, the announcements, just because the more intensity, and you see the paths. You see the walks for everybody. You see the road for everybody is more clear than for AEW. But I'm not saying it was a terrible show when it comes to, like, the Champions brand. Jean Paul, where they can find people on the social media world.
Well, they can find us on Instagram and Facebook, The Original Rope Break, Twitter, The OG Rope Break, and right here on YouTube, The Original Rope Break. Click subscribe to the #1 and the best content in the whole entire YouTube wrestling
We
community.
strive our best, and we always deliver. We're always there for you guys. So, like, we will be tomorrow. We will be here for, like, are you ready for some Smackdown? We don't know if it's gonna be bull yet. We don't know if it's gonna be legit again, but we're gonna see our bro Matt Riddle. So I kind of miss him a little bit on Wednesdays, but we get to see doses of Matt Riddle on Friday. So, Jean Paul, one more thing that we have left to say, and that is, uh,